The listing said secluded. That was the whole point. Sarah and I needed to get away from the city, from work, from everything. 3 nights in a cabin 2 hours north of Duluth. No neighbors, no cell service, just us and the woods. The cabin was exactly what we expected. Small, rustic, clean enough. The kind of place that smelled like pine and old wood smoke. Sarah loved it immediately. She was already unpacking, talking about hiking trails and reading by the fire. I was still standing on the porch when I noticed the tree line. The forest sat in a clearing, maybe 50 yards from the forest on all sides. Perfect symmetry. Too perfect, actually. Like someone had deliberately carved out this space and kept the woods at bay. "Babe, come look at the view," Sarah called from inside. I went in, tried to shake the feeling. That first night was fine. We made dinner, drank wine, sat by the fire. Sarah fell asleep on the couch around 10. I stayed up a bit longer, reading. That's when I heard it. Not a sound exactly, more like the absence of sound. The forest had gone completely silent. No wind, no animals, nothing. I got up and looked out the window. Something was standing at the tree line. It was too dark to see clearly. Just a shape. Tall. Maybe 7 feet. Completely still. I stared at it for maybe 30 seconds. It didn't move. I convinced myself it was a tree, or a shadow, or my eyes playing tricks in the dark. When I blinked, it was gone. I didn't mention it to Sarah the next morning. Didn't want to freak her out over nothing. We spent a day hiking, taking pictures, enjoying the isolation. By evening, I'd almost forgotten about it. But when darkness came, so did the silence. Sarah was in the shower when I saw it again. Same spot, same tree line, but this time there were 2 of them. Both perfectly still, both watching the cabin. "Sarah?" I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. "Yeah? When you're done, come look at something." By the time she came out, they were gone again. "What did you want to show me?" she asked, toweling her hair. I pointed to the tree line. "I keep seeing, I don't know, shapes out there." She looked. "It's pretty dark, probably just trees." "Yeah," I said, "probably." But that night, neither of us slept well, because around midnight, something started circling the cabin. We could hear it. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, moving around the outside of the cabin in a slow, methodical pattern. Sarah grabbed my arm. "What is that?" "I don't know." The footsteps stopped at the front door. We heard something sniff. Long, deep breaths. Then it moved to the window. We could see its shadow on the curtain. Tall, wrong proportions, too long in the arms. It stayed there for maybe 5 minutes, just standing, breathing. Then it moved on, continued its circle around the cabin. We sat on the couch, frozen, listening to it complete 3 full circuits before it finally stopped. Sarah was crying quietly. "We need to leave." "We can't see anything out there. We'd have to drive 2 hours in the dark on that dirt road, and there's no cell service to call for help if we break down." "So what do we do?" "We wait for morning. Lock everything. Don't open the door for anything." The rest of the night, we sat in silence, waiting, listening. At dawn, we packed as fast as we could, threw everything in the car. Sarah was already in the passenger seat when I went back to grab our cooler from the porch. That's when I saw them. The entire tree line was filled with them now. 20, maybe 30, all standing perfectly still, all watching. I dropped the cooler, got in the car, started the engine. "Drive," Sarah whispered. "Just drive." I put it in reverse, backed down the long driveway toward the road. They didn't move. They just watched us go. We were almost to the main road when Sarah screamed. I looked in the rearview mirror. They were running now. All of them, coming across the clearing at impossible speed. Their arms were too long. Their movements were wrong. But they were fast. I floored it. The car fishtailed on the dirt road. I could see them gaining in the mirror. We hit the paved road, and I didn't slow down, didn't look back, just drove. It wasn't until we were an hour away, back in cell service range, that Sarah finally spoke. What were they? I didn't have an answer. But I looked at the rental agreement on the dashboard. Under special instructions, there was one line I hadn't noticed before. Do not leave the cabin after dark. I'm a writer. Or at least, I'm trying to be. My agent said I needed to finish the manuscript in 6 weeks, or the publisher would walk. So I did what every desperate writer does. I rented a cabin in the middle of nowhere and told myself I'd come back with a finished book. The cabin was perfect for it. Northern Minnesota, 20 miles from the nearest town. No Wi-Fi, no distractions. Just me, my laptop, and the woods. The first 3 days were productive. I wrote maybe 40 pages. Good pages. The kind where you're in the zone and the words just flow. But on the 4th day, I noticed something. The woodpile on the porch had been rearranged. I know that sounds paranoid, but I'd stacked it myself when I arrived. Biggest logs on the bottom, smaller pieces on top. Now it was reversed. Smaller logs on the bottom, like they'd collapse any second. I stood there staring at it, trying to remember if maybe I'd restacked it and forgotten. But no, I was sure. Someone had been on my porch. I checked all the windows. All locked. Checked the doors. Locked. No signs of break-in. Maybe an animal? But what animal rearranges firewood? I told myself I was being ridiculous. Spent too many days alone. Writer's brain making up stories where there weren't any. That night, I tried to work. Couldn't focus. Kept getting up to check the windows. Around midnight, I heard footsteps on the porch. I froze. Listened. Someone was walking. Slow, deliberate steps, back and forth across the wooden boards. I grabbed my phone. No service, of course. I crept to the window and looked out. Nothing. Empty porch. No movement. But I could still hear the footsteps. I waited by the window for an hour. The sound never stopped. Back and forth, back and forth. But nothing was there. Eventually, I convinced myself it was the cabin settling, old wood creaking, my imagination filling in the pattern. I went back to my laptop, tried to work. That's when I noticed the document was open to a page I hadn't written yet. Page 247. My manuscript was only 180 pages. But there it was, a full page of text. My writing style, my character's voice. I read it. It was a scene where my protagonist realizes someone has been in her house, moving things, watching her. She thinks she's going crazy until she finds proof. A note left on her kitchen table. At the bottom of the page, in my document, was a single line. "You're not alone." I slammed the laptop shut. My hands were shaking. I was hyperventilating. I didn't write that. I couldn't have written that. I hadn't even gotten to that part of the story yet. But it was in my document, in my style, on my computer that no one else had access to. I opened the laptop again, deleted the page, closed the document, shut down the computer completely. Then I sat in the dark, listening. The footsteps. had stopped. I didn't sleep that night. At dawn, I packed everything, loaded the car. I was done. The book could wait. I needed to get out. But before I left, I opened my laptop one more time, just to make sure the document was saved correctly. The manuscript was there. 180 pages. Everything I'd written. Except now, there was a new file on my desktop. It was titled, What Really Happened.docx. I stared at it for a long time. My hand moved to the mouse, hovered over the file. I almost opened it. But something stopped me. Some instinct, some part of my brain screaming not to look. I closed the laptop, put it in my bag, got in the car. Drove 20 miles back to civilization without looking back. That was 3 months ago. I finished the manuscript in my apartment, turned it in, it got published last week. My agent called yesterday, said the reviews are incredible, said readers love the twist ending. What twist ending? I asked. She laughed. Don't be modest. The reveal that the narrator was dead the whole time? Brilliant! Nobody saw it coming. I hung up, opened my published book to the last chapter. She was right. There's a twist ending, a reveal I never wrote. But it's there, in my style, in my voice. And at the very end on the acknowledgments page, there's a line I don't remember adding. Special thanks to my cabin companion who helped me find the truth. I still have the laptop. I still haven't opened that file. We found the journal in the nightstand drawer. Emma saw it first. We'd just arrived at the cabin, another Airbnb in the middle of the Minnesota woods, and she was unpacking when she pulled out a small leather-bound notebook. "Look at this," she said, flipping through pages. "Someone left their journal." I was busy trying to get the fireplace started. Probably should leave it alone. "It's addressed to the next guest." She held it up. The first page had those exact words written in neat handwriting. That got my attention. Emma started reading out loud. "To whoever finds this, I'm writing this as a warning. I don't know if you'll believe me. I didn't believe the person who stayed here before me either, but by the time you finish reading this, you'll understand." "Okay, that's creepy," I said. "Some previous guest trying to freak out the next renters." Emma kept reading. "Day 1. The cabin is beautiful, exactly what we needed. My husband Mark and I are celebrating our anniversary. Everything seems perfect." "See?" Emma said. "Just a normal vacation journal. The warning is probably a joke." But she kept reading anyway. Day 2. Last night I heard something on the roof. Mark says it was probably a raccoon or a branch, but it sounded like footsteps, walking back and forth all night long. Emma looked up at me. "That's specific." Day 3. The footsteps came back, louder this time. Mark heard them too, but when we went outside to check, there was nothing on the roof. No tracks, no branches nearby that could have fallen. Mark is getting annoyed that I keep bringing it up. I laughed. "Come on, this is obviously someone messing with future guests. Probably the same story they leave in every cabin." "Maybe," Emma said, but she was still reading. Day 4. I found something in the closet, behind the winter coats. A pile of journals, at least 20 of them, all addressed to the next guest. I started reading the most recent one. Emma stopped, looked at me. "Wait." She got up and walked to the closet, opened it, pushed aside the coats. "Emma, don't." She reached into the back of the closet and pulled out a cardboard box. It was full of journals. We spread them out on the bed. Dozens of them, different handwriting, different years. The oldest one was dated 1987. Emma picked up a random one from the middle of the pile, started reading. Day 5. We're leaving early. I don't care what the rental agreement says about refunds. Something is wrong with this place. Last night, something tried to open our bedroom door. The handle turned. We watched it turn, but when we opened the door, nothing was there. Another journal. Day 6. My wife wants to leave, but we can't. The road is washed out from the storm. We called the rental company, but there's no cell service. We're trapped here for at least 2 more days. The footsteps on the roof are constant now. Another. Day 7. I don't think we're alone here. I think whatever is here has always been here, and I think it wants us to write about it, to warn the next people, but they never listen. I felt cold. This is elaborate. Someone's been doing this for years. Or, Emma picked up the journal we'd found in the nightstand, the one addressed to us. Or it's all real. She turned to the last entry. Day 7. If you're reading this, you're already in the pattern. You've heard the footsteps by now. You've found the journals. And tonight, you'll hear the knocking. What knocking? Emma asked. As if on cue, something knocked on the front door. 3 times. Slow. Deliberate. We both froze. That's just coincidence, I said, but my voice shook. The knocking came again. Same rhythm. 3 knocks. Emma grabbed my arm. Don't answer it. It's probably another guest or the property manager checking in. I walked to the door, looked through the peephole. Nothing. No one standing there. The knocking came again, but this time it wasn't on the door. It was coming from inside the walls. All around us. 3 knocks, then silence, then 3 more knocks from a different wall. Emma was reading the journal again, her voice panicked. The knocking moves through the cabin. It's looking for you. Don't let it find you. Don't respond. Don't acknowledge it. Whatever you do, don't write about it. Then why did they write about it? Emma whispered. The last line of the journal. Because once you experience it, you can't help but write. You need to warn the next person, even though you know they won't listen. We left that night. Didn't pack properly. Just threw everything in the car and drove. We reported it to the rental company. They apologized, said they'd investigate, gave us a full refund. 3 weeks later, we got an email. The property management company said they'd searched the cabin thoroughly, found no journals, no box in the closet, nothing in the nightstand drawer. They suggested we'd been drinking, that we'd imagined it. But Emma still has the journal we found, the one addressed to the next guest. She keeps it in her nightstand now. Sometimes, late at night, I catch her writing in it. When I ask what she's writing, she just says, a warning. I asked her who she's warning. She looked at me with empty eyes. The next guest. We weren't supposed to be there. The trail was marked closed, do not enter, with that official Parks Department signage that's supposed to make you turn around. But Jake had hiked this area before, said the trail was fine, just unmaintained. And we were experienced hikers. We had gear. We knew what we were doing. The storm caught us around mile 7. It came out of nowhere. 1 minute, clear skies. The next, black clouds and rain so heavy we could barely see 10 feet ahead. There's a shelter cabin up ahead, Jake shouted over the thunder. Maybe half a mile. We can wait it out there. We ran. The trail turned to mud under our boots. Lightning was hitting close enough that we could smell it, that sharp electric scent that makes your hair stand up. Jake found the cabin first. Small structure, maybe 12 by 12 feet. Weathered wood. No windows, just a door hanging half off its hinges. "Get inside," he yelled. We didn't hesitate. We set up our sleeping bags as far from the altar as possible. The storm wasn't letting up. If anything, it was getting worse. "I'm starving," Rachel said, digging through her pack. "Anyone want trail mix?" She pulled out the bag, opened it, and froze. "What the hell?" We crowded around. Her trail mix bag was full of small animal bones. Not food, just bones. "That's not... I packed this myself. It was trail mix. I ate from this bag this morning." Jake checked his pack. His granola bars were gone, replaced with more bones and feathers and what looked like dried blood on cloth. My pack was the same. All our food, gone, replaced with these ritual objects. "Someone's messing with us," Jake said, but his voice shook. "Someone came in while we were sleeping, or..." "We haven't been sleeping," I said. "We just got here 15 minutes ago." The three of us stood there, staring at our packs, at the impossible substitution. Rachel pointed at the altar. "It's the same stuff. The same bones, the same feathers." "We need to leave, now, storm or no storm." But when Jake tried the door, it wouldn't open. "It's stuck," he grunted, pulling hard. "It was falling off the hinges when we came in," Rachel said. "How can it be stuck?" Jake threw his weight against it. Nothing. The door wouldn't budge. "The windows," I started, then stopped. There were no windows. I knew that, but I could have sworn when we ran in I'd seen windows, dark glass, something. Now there was just solid wall. "This isn't right," Rachel whispered. "This isn't possible." A sound made us all turn. Something was moving on the altar. The bones were rearranging themselves, slowly, deliberately, forming a pattern on the wooden shelf. We watched, frozen, as they spelled out words. "Take nothing, leave offering." Jake's voice was barely audible. "What does it want?" The bones shifted again. "Blood." "No," Rachel said firmly. "Absolutely not. We're not..." The temperature in the cabin dropped. Our breath came out in clouds. The bones moved again. 3 came, 3 must offer, or 3 remain. Jake pulled out his pocket knife. His hand was shaking. "It's just a little blood, right? Like a blood oath or something. We cut our palms, drip some on the altar, and we can leave?" "You can't be serious," I said. "Look at the door," he shouted. "Look at what's happening. You got a better idea?" Rachel was crying. "This is insane. This isn't real." But Jake was already cutting his palm. He walked to the altar, let 3 drops of blood fall into the clay bowl. The bowl began to smoke. "Your turn," he said to us. Rachel went next, then me, 3 drops each. The smoke from the bowl turned red, then black, then disappeared entirely. The door swung open. Outside, the storm had stopped, completely, like it had never been there. We ran, didn't look back, didn't stop running until we hit the main trail. The park ranger at the trailhead looked at us like we were crazy when we tried to explain. "There's no cabin on that trail," she said. "Trail's been closed for 6 years since the old ranger station burned down." "We were in it," Jake insisted. "We saw..." "Son, I've worked here 20 years. There's no cabin." We drove home in silence. For 3 weeks, everything was fine. Then Jake called, said something was wrong with his hand. The cut from the knife wouldn't heal. It was getting worse. Rachel texted the next day. Same thing. Her palm was infected, black lines spreading up her arm. Mine started the day after. We all went to the hospital. Different hospitals, different cities. The doctors all said the same thing. This looks like some kind of poisoning, like your blood is being drained from the inside out. Last week,
Jake died. Yesterday, Rachel stopped answering her phone. I'm writing this now because I can feel it. Whatever we gave to that altar, it wasn't enough. It wanted an offering, and we gave it a way in. The cut on my palm, it's not a cut anymore. It's a mouth, and it's getting bigger.